This is the slideshow that I'm going to have for you this evening, and you can hopefully see my face as well over on the side. If you can't see it, just let me know and I can change that if necessary. But what we're talking about tonight is pycnogenol and the OPC advantage. It's pycnogenol, as I'll show you, is really something, a compound, a natural plant extract that has a wide range of health benefits to support the basic functions of human health. And in that matter, it really does work to strengthen the foundation of our health, helps to slow down the aging process. If you are struggling with different conditions, it can help to improve your level of wellness, to help to improve, decrease the negative effects of whatever condition that you may be dealing with. And as Andy said briefly in the introduction, there are more than 450 publications and more than 50 years of research on pycnogenol. Obviously, I cannot go through that tonight, but I will give you what I would say is a shallow and broad overview of pycnogenol. But more importantly, tonight I'm going to teach you of easy ways for you to easy tools that you have at your disposal to very quickly and easily help yourself to educate yourself more about the health benefits of pycnogenol and how to share them with other people in your life. So we can get the presentation to move, we'll be in good shape. Okay, so of course, first we have the disclaimers that always have to be in this up in these modern age now. So this is a disclaimer from Market Australia saying that they cannot fully support or they may not agree with everything on this presentation, and that's fine because it's a presentation that we at Horphag Research have made, which is based on our research, and Market Australia is not directly involved in that research, so I completely understand that. So first of all, what is pycnogenol? Well, pycnogenol is a natural plant extract that comes from the bark of a unique species of pine tree, which is the French maritime pine tree, which grows exclusively in the southwest region of France. The picture you see here is a crosscut of a tree, that pine tree that was allowed to grow between 30 and 50 years. And you can see how thick that bark is. And this is an amazing property of the French maritime pine tree, is that the trees that are allowed to grow for 30 to 50 years, they develop this very thick, deep red bark, as you can see here. And this grows on average up to 4 centimeters in thickness. This is a unique feature of the region where these pine trees are allowed to grow in the southwest of France there. And just down the coast, down in Spain, they also have maritime pine trees, but because of the different environment where the trees grow, the trees down in Spain, they average a thickness of the bark is only on average about 2 centimeters. Whereas just up the coast in the unique environmental region where the French maritime pine trees grow, it's like almost nearly a completely different species of pine tree, which has this very unique bark, which becomes very thick and has a very, very high concentration of the active compounds in pycnogenol. Already the deep red color in the bark shows that those compounds are there. So this is where pycnogenol is derived from. And you may be interested to know that pycnogenol was originally developed in the 1960s as a pharmaceutical product to support cardiovascular health, to strengthen the blood vessels, and to help to improve blood flow. And for 20 years, it was used exclusively as a pharmaceutical until the 1980s, when the laws were changed and pharmaceuticals such as pycnogenol, which are actually natural plant extracts, as long as they had a good safety record, and pycnogenol has an excellent safety record, these natural plant extracts were allowed to be used as health food ingredients. And so therefore you see pycnogenol used worldwide today as a health food ingredient. as you have it there in Australia. And you still get all the health benefits that pycnogenol was originally developed for, and actually is still used today for as a pharmaceutical to support the cardiovascular system. But the good thing about being a health food ingredient is that allowed Horphag Research, the makers of pycnogenol, to expand the breadth of research on pycnogenol and explore its besides cardiovascular. The cardiovascular benefits are phenomenal, but there are so many other health benefits that pycnogenol has to offer us that have been proven over these last 50 years and these more than 500 papers that have been published. So that's what I'm going into today. This slide basically tells you the basics, the key active components by weight of the extract would be the procyanidins. Now, these are a unique, what they call oligomeric proanthocyanidin compound. And this is a unique polyphenol compound, essentially, that is in a very high abundance naturally in the bark of the French maritime pine tree. And pycnogenol, as I said, is a natural extract. That means that it's just extracted using ethanol and water. The ethanol is completely burned off in the extraction process and in the spray drying process. And so you're left with the natural ratio of the compounds in the bark, but it's a highly concentrated form. And so therefore you have an extremely highly concentrated source to get these procyanidins into our diet. And I will tell you all the health benefits that provides soon. It's important for you to know that pycnogenol is listed in the United States Pharmacopoeia. This is a book that is essentially used by pharmacists and physicians to describe these compounds and the benefits of them. And besides the procyanidins, it contains other polyphenols such as catechin, epicatechin, many different organic acids, and taxifolin. Because it has all of these different compounds, this helps to support its actions, many different actions in the body, because it's not a single substance compound, but it's a natural extract with many different compounds. And pycnogenol still today, it is still sold as a pharmaceutical, so it is produced as a pharmaceutical to pharmaceutical standards, and even the health food ingredient is produced to the same standards. You may be happy to know that pycnogenol is 100% France extract. It is completely 100% produced in France. There are what I would say copycat pine bark extracts that have come out in the world following the success and popularity of pycnogenol. And many of them claim to be French pine bark extracts, but this is not always the case. And so it's important to know where your source is, and pycnogenol is 100% French extract. So this is the region of France where the trees are grown. Interesting historical fact was that about 180 years ago, this whole region was a swamp. There were no pine trees there. Today, there are more than 2.5 million acres of pine trees. And these were planted by Napoleon III during his reign as a method to basically drain the swamp, to suck up the excess water in the region, because pine trees require a lot of water to grow. And so they're very good at reclaiming land in this manner. So 180 years ago, they planted these trees, and it just took to this swampy area. And today there are more than 2.5 million acres of pine trees in this region. But because of the unique environment that these trees grow in, as I just explained to you, they've developed into a somewhat different subspecies of pine tree, which makes them different from other pine trees around the world. And that's a unique factor about pycnogenol, which is produced exclusively from these trees. So you'll be happy to know that pycnogenol, the forest that it's grown in, is a completely natural forest. It's maintained and protected by the government of France. There are no pesticides and fertilizers used in growing these pine trees, and the trees are allowed to grow for 30 to 50 years before they are harvested. And the factory where pycnogenol is produced, the extraction factory, is actually located within the heart of the forest. And this is important because pycnogenol is a 1,000 to 1 extract. What does that mean? That means that it takes 1,000 kilograms of bark to produce only one kilogram of pycnogenol. So that's a lot of bark. Every day, there's about 12 truckloads a day that are coming to the factory to produce pycnogenol. And as soon as the bark is delivered, it begins the selection process and the extraction process. So it's as fresh as it can be. When the trees are cut, within 48 hours, the bark is removed. And the bark that's of good enough quality begins the extraction process. That's how fresh pycnogenol is produced. But any type of health food ingredient that you put into your body, you want to know that it's based on research, that it's been proven safe, number one, but also that it does produce a significant health benefit. And that can only be proven in research, and particularly in clinical research, because what may be shown to work in a rat or a mouse may not work or have completely different benefits or actually cause damage to human beings. This is a quite commonly seen case. So if you are taking any natural plant extracts or health food ingredients, it's important to check to see that there is clinical research in human beings to show that it is safe and effective. So here is the pycnogenol research on PubMed.gov. So this is a database, essentially, of research that is maintained by the United States government and the National Library of Medicine. All of these papers on this database are what they call peer-reviewed by a class or a selection of the peers, scientists, who say that this study was done in the proper manner and the results are appropriate. And so this is a good, high-quality research. That's what this is on this website here on this database. And you can see if you search for pycnogenol, there's more than 500 publications related to pycnogenol here. Many of them are free. So if ever you're having any difficulty sleeping at night, this will do it. Come and find these. But there's a lot of good information here. So the efficacy of pycnogenol has been proven over these last 50 years with more than 160 clinical trials. This involves more than 15,000 patients. That's a lot of people taking pycnogenol. And originally, pycnogenol was mainly for the heart health and circulatory system. But over the last 50 years, the research has expanded worldwide with universities all over the world studying pycnogenol. And it's been shown to have many different health benefits for the whole body, from the joints to blood sugar metabolism, to oral health, to eye health, to the brain, to the skin, women's health specifically, cognitive function. And yeah, so it's a lot of material. So yeah, I will get into that in somewhat more detail as we go on. So pycnogenol really is a simple way to promote your overall health. It is known as being a super antioxidant, but it is much more than this. It's the polyphenols and procyanidins within pycnogenol that provide the anti-aging benefits, the free radical defending benefits, boosting immune function. But what it was originally developed to be a pharmaceutical for was how it improves blood vessel health. It helps to strengthen the blood vessels, boost blood flow by boosting nitric oxide and helping the blood vessels to dilate better. This provides the health benefits for decreasing blood pressure. It's also been shown to help to improve cholesterol levels as well. And then on top of that, it's also been shown to be anti-inflammatory in many different conditions, from joint health to decreasing pain in sports, muscle damage, menstrual health, improving lung health and breathing in conditions like asthma. And then the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory actions, as well as blood flow enhancing actions, help to promote the appearance and the health of the skin. Pycnogenol has been shown to produce or to boost collagen production, boost hyaluronic acid and moisture content in the skin, which has a profound anti-aging impact on the skin. And it also helps to block the negative effects of UV radiation, which I know you have a lot of down there in Australia. And even in the summertime in UV intense environments, it's been shown to have a whitening effect, which I will touch on later today. And then it also promotes healthy blood sugar. It helps to slow down the digestion and the absorption of carbohydrates, and therefore this helps to regulate blood sugar control. And this can have an anti-aging effect in itself. I should note that while we are focusing on pycnogenol as the key active ingredient in the OPC3 product, there are many other active compounds in this product that are also different, unique polyphenol compounds that work synergistically with pycnogenol to amplify the health benefits that I will be talking about tonight, that are basically based on pycnogenol, but by combining them, particularly with this powerful group of bioflavonoids from citrus sources, from grapes and bilberry, you have a pronounced effect, a synergistic effect, by combining these polyphenol compounds together. And so you can look forward to that with the pycnogenol combination in OPC3. So what a question I commonly get is, because of the broad wealth of research behind pycnogenol, which is fantastic, but how do you simply and effectively share the greatness of pycnogenol and OPCs with other people in a manner that they can understand and relate to? If you go in saying that it's great for everything, of course, you know, it's difficult to believe that. It sounds too good to be true. And I completely understand that. And so what I tend to do is focus on the needs of the person in front of me, the needs and interests of the person in front of me. It's great to always start with the basics, because the basics of pycnogenol will share with that person the potential of pycnogenol. And so the basics of pycnogenol to always start with would be to talk about how it promotes healthy blood flow, strengthens the blood vessels. Of course, I think we would all agree that having your blood flowing is a good way to maintain your life. Yes, I think so. I hope so. Whether it's Chinese medicine or Western medicine, flow and circulation is vital to health. So healthy blood flow, of course. And then as an antioxidant, pycnogenol is still known today as one of the most powerful natural antioxidant substances around. There's a whole theory, the antioxidant theory of aging, about how important maintaining antioxidant levels in our body is important for slowing down the aging process. And pycnogenol is phenomenal for that. And more research related to inflammation and aging, related to inflammation and heart disease and dementia and even depression, which I will touch on today as well. So the low levels of chronic inflammation that can hamper us as we age really accelerates the aging process and predisposes us to increased disease risk. So pycnogenol, with its anti-inflammatory action, also helps to control this aspect of aging and promoting health. And then blood sugar control. Now, blood sugar, of course, everyone thinks of diabetes or perhaps metabolic syndrome, but it's much more than that. Now they're even calling dementia as a different type of diabetes, unregulated blood sugar control promoting dementia. So blood sugar control is very important for maintaining overall health. You also might be interested to know that unregulated blood sugar helps to promote spots in the skin. So it can even impact the appearance of your skin and have a beauty aspect as well. But pycnogenol helps to control and lower the blood sugar, and therefore this helps to maintain your health, slow down the aging process, and keep you looking good. So these are the basics. So when you talk with somebody, you can say, well, pycnogenol has so many different health benefits, but it basically works by supporting cardiovascular health. It's a profound antioxidant. It's been shown to be anti-inflammatory, helping to promote joint health and decrease pain. And it also helps to control blood sugar as well. So it has a lot of potential aspects, but here's why I think it would be good for you. So you can share, of course, your story. If you have a story related to your use of the product, that is always great to have firsthand information and stories, or stories of loved ones who have been helped. And I have many. I could talk for hours tonight if that's all we wanted to talk about, of testimonials of people who have told me how much Pycnogenol has impacted their lives. And so I'm very grateful to be in this position to share this information, because what I'm saying works. It is true, and I've seen it so many times. And so that's what makes these personal stories very powerful. But you always have to remember the person in front of you may not be in the same situation, and they may have something completely different than what you are sharing that they are dealing with. So you need to focus on the person in front of you. Their needs and interests are what is going to draw them into becoming interested in Pycnogenol. And no matter what reason you start taking Pycnogenol, the great thing about it is if you start taking it, you get all the health benefits. So quite often, I know a lot of people who started taking Pycnogenol for, in Japan, one of the most common applications is for menstrual health. Very popular here for decreasing menstrual pain, helping to promote a more regular menstrual cycle, these types of things, decreasing symptoms of PMS. So they start taking Pycnogenol for this. But then these women, they notice that their skin improves very dramatically, or that their blood sugar control improves significantly, and their energy levels increase. And so, of course, in addition to the health benefits of decreasing their menstrual pain, they notice all these other health benefits. And so we have so many customers who just continue throughout their lifetime of taking Pycnogenol because of these many benefits that they see. So no matter why you start it, you will get all the health benefits, which is a great thing. So talking about the person in front of you, they may have a different story than what you have to share with them from your personal experience. So it's important to be aware of the tools that you have and to make good use of them. And so that's what I'm going to share with you tonight here, which is, first off, you have a very excellent website from Market Australia. And you can see the address right there at shop.com, au.shop.com. And when you scroll down to the products down there, you'll see that the top product searches, the Isotonix OPC3 product, which is, of course, where Pycnogenol is the key active ingredient, is a #1 customer favorite. And there is a reason for that, because it works. And so this is a starting point for you, and you will be happy to know if you click on the product and go down and read up about it. They have a nice list of all the benefits, which I have already touched on many of these here related to it being a powerful antioxidant, promoting blood vessel health, being anti-inflammatory, healthy joint function. All of these things are here, and all of them are true. Of course, you may not want to say all of them at one time to the person in front of you, because that will be overwhelming. But select, say they're talking to you about their joints, so they're complaining about their joints. Just focus on that. That is enough, because that is what they are concerned about. And once they start with that and they say, hey, yes, I am actually feeling something, then you can say, well, good, because taking this, it also has this, this, and this that you can tell them later. But keep it focused on their key interest at that time is a good way to share the story of Pycnogenol with them. So you have this resource here, and if you need more, they have a great bibliography listing on the website here under the OPC recap here, and just down on the bottom of the page. And in the science section, you can see they have the listing of all the publications, not all of them, but a good number of the Pycnogenol publications that support all the health claims that were made up above. So you have this resource right here. And then, of course, there is the pycnogenol.com homepage. And this pycnogenol.com homepage has a ton of information at your fingertips, all free for you to make use of. And so I very much highly recommend that you go to pycnogenol.com and take a look at it, because essentially all of the actions that I will talk about tonight, and also that you will see on the website, they are basically amplified by the unique combination in the OPC3 product. By combining pycnogenol with these other bioflavonoids, they work in synergy to give a pronounced benefit related to the topics that we will be talking about. So how do you navigate this website? Where should you focus? With a lot of, as in a lot of websites, there's a lot of things that you could go to, but your key, most important points for learning about the benefits of pycnogenol would be the application tab here, because it very quickly brings up in a snapshot the links to talk about eye health and vision, to talk about diabetic health, cognitive function, sports, joint health, or tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ear. There is multiple clinical studies on how pycnogenol helps to improve that. Menstrual discomfort and menopause is also a very popular application for pycnogenol. So you can click on any of these and they will jump you to more detailed explanations of the research on pycnogenol there. Or you can click on the science tab, which essentially you scroll down on this screen and you will come to the bibliography. And here you can click on the bibliography and you will actually open that up. Let's see. Let me share the homepage itself with you. So you should be seeing the homepage now. So if we go to Science tab here, and then you just scroll down, it gives you the history here, and then you have the bibliography. And if you click on the bibliography, you pull it up in a PDF form, and you can just scroll down through that. You could see the table of contents here, which lists by category the research on pycnogenol. And so you can see this is a bibliography just on pycnogenol research, and the bibliography is 45 pages long, more than 45 pages long. And if you just click on any one of these, say pain management, since it's right here in front of us, it will jump to that section, and it will very simply give you a brief, a one-sentence summary of what the study is about. And it gives you the complete reference for this study. So you could copy this, put it into Google, and you can go straight to that actual source if you wanted to. And in many of these cases, many of these publications are available free for downloading. Others, they may cost depending on the journal that it's published in, but many of them are available for free. But more than that, you can just use this as a tool to say, look, you're concerned about joint pain is troubling you, or say, for example, frequent headaches or migraine headaches. There's research on pycnogenol for that. You can see it's right here in the bibliography. And you can find the research here. See the talking about migraines right here. And there's been a few research publications in the last few years that have actually shown how pycnogenol does decrease migraine intensity as well as frequency of occurrence in migraines. And I've seen that personally in my own group of friends. So this is how you can use the bibliography as a tool, either to go to the resources directly or just to share the wealth of research on this particular health condition with someone who has that interest. Say you have someone who has asthma, or hay fever allergy that is a problem. Or perhaps they have, like the most recent studies are on post-COVID even, or long COVID syndrome and lung disease related to that. There's new research on this here. So it's very fascinating, the amount of research that is behind pycnogenol, showing how it supports respiratory health. So that's the bibliography. And then just below the bibliography, because there is so many fields of applications for pycnogenol and so much research, multiple clinical studies on each field, Horphag Research has developed these application brochures. And this covers for cardiovascular health, for joint health, for skin care, for eye health, sports nutrition, menstrual discomfort, diabetes, respiratory health, for healthy veins and circulation, for cognitive function, menopause, and then the last one is oral care. So these application brochures, they really nicely summarize the research related to them. And you click on them just like the bibliography, and it gives you a PDF where you have the research summarized here for you. And it goes through the different conditions, the different clinical studies in a much more succinct form than you would find if you had to go to the actual journal paper itself. So it is a bit more technical in verbiage in the language that's used, but this is again taken directly from the actual research papers themselves. So it's a very nice and powerful summary of the data, and the graphs are good and show a nice and simple way to show the benefit that was seen in each of these clinical studies. So you have these tools here that I highly recommend that you make use of. Let's see if I go back to the, hopefully, let me figure out where I'm at here. Hold on a second here, having some technical difficulties. I'll stop the share here for a second.
Hey, Dr. Jeff, that is some great information. You made everyone's life really easy. Pycnogenol.com. Why have we not known about this before?
Yeah, I wish I had shared it with you earlier, but yeah, this is a great opportunity for everyone to get to know it, because there is so much research here. And as I said, this is focused on pycnogenol, but because of the combination of the OPC3 product, the other bioflavonoids that really support these health benefits that are described in each of these application brochures. So OPC3 is probably one of the products that I've heard the most health benefits from the most testimonials. And so I know it's a great product, and I'm very confident in it myself. So, but yes, definitely a great resource here. This is another example of the joint health brochure, which has a similar summary of the many different clinical studies. And at the end, which I didn't show for the cognitive function brochure, but at the end of every brochure, they actually give you the complete list of references of all the papers that are cited in the application brochure itself. So you have that added level of confidence and support with the actual research listed right there. So great resource for any person, any level of scientist or science junkie who you may be talking to.
Right. Hey, just a quick question, Dr. Jeff. Does it just come in English, or does it come in other languages as well?
Well, if you can see at the top of the screen there, it's actually translated into 11 different languages.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Mm-hmm. I should have seen that.
That's all right. And it's in both, it's in Chinese, of course, in Japanese, of course, Thai, so many languages in the Southeast Asia region.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Another tab that I would highly recommend that you make use of is the media tab here. Kind of counterintuitive maybe, because you're not really media people, but under the media tab, there are the infographics, and these are great tools. The infographics are here. You can tap on any of them and download them as a PDF. You'll get the complete PDF that will pop up, and then you can scroll down through it. So this one here is just the general overview PDF for what is pycnogenol. And this may not be the most ideal one to start with for some people, because again, I highly recommend you focus on the area of interest or concern that the person may be sharing with you as a way to describe pycnogenol. But there's this one here for your own edification, for your own education, which talks about all the basics of pycnogenol, what it is, where it comes from, the amount of research behind it, what kind of a high quality ingredient it is, 1,000 kilograms of bark to make 1 kilogram of pycnogenol. There's a summary of the properties, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory for what am I losing here? The blood vessel health, healthy circulation. And then it also focuses, rather than blood sugar control, they focus more on the skin health here in this application brochure. I'm sorry, in this infographic. And then just below that, there's a brief blurb about each field of application, or many of the major fields of application of pycnogenol. So again, this may be a bit overwhelming and hard to believe for some people when they see it the first time, but for your own education, it's a good source. There are other infographics. So if you have a person who's concerned about their aging parents, or even their own perhaps frequent memory lapses, this type of thing, or feeling the memory defects as we age, you can come to this infographic and share this with them, which is a nice summary of the clinical research with pycnogenol promoting cognitive health in basically all age groups, from children on up to the elderly. And good clinical studies, double-blind placebo-controlled studies also proving the cognitive health benefits and memory promoting benefits of pycnogenol. Then there is the pycnogenol infographic for skin health and beauty. And this gives a nice overview of what are the major factors that damage skin and accelerate aging of the skin. And then it goes into telling how pycnogenol helps to slow that down and protect the skin from those negative benefits. So it's a very useful infographic. The only thing is that these are very long documents, as you can see, so they're not going to fit on one piece of paper, but they are nice to have, and you can carry them around in digital format as a PDF. There's also, of course, the cardiovascular health infographic, which is a cornerstone of the pycnogenol development and research. And there's a ton of nice research related to this. For women's health, also very, very popular and growing in popularity around the world with the continued research here, promoting menstrual health, whether it be decreasing menstrual pain, dysmenorrhea, endometriosis, or menopause. This is a nice summary here in an infographic form. Then for men's health, and this does not get talked about enough, but of course there are a lot of health benefits for men related to prostate health, decreasing frequent urination and BPH symptoms, but also promoting vitality and erectile function. And that's been proven in many different clinical studies as well. So, and this is nicely summarized here on this infographic. And then for the healthy person, but the very active or the weekend warrior, you know, who goes out and kills themselves on the weekend, like me. I injure myself way too much these days. But I have pycnogenol, so I keep going. Yes. But this is a nice summary of how the antioxidant benefits of boosting blood flow and fighting inflammation can help keep you going on the weekends and help keeping you active in life, no matter how old you are. And then also under the media tab, there is the video tab or the video link. And this basically takes you to a page that gives you another link to the YouTube channel. And if you've never checked out the Pycnogenol video channel, you should, because again, here you have a ton of information here. And I know a lot of people like video forms of information these days. And so here along the top line here, these are like what they call video infographics, which is similar to the paper ones or the digital ones that I just showed you before, but in a video format that is a flowing with music and gives you the information there in that format. Oops, I'm sorry. And then below that, there are videos that are with specialists, other medical doctors, and health professionals, nutritionists, explaining the research on Pycnogenol and the health benefits of Pycnogenol in short snippets, so maybe 5 minutes, between 2 and 5 minutes in general. So there's a lot of good information that you can find on the Pycnogenol YouTube channel. So again, all of these tools are here to help you to focus on the needs and interests of the person in front of you. Their needs and interests may be different from your experience. And so it's important for you to utilize these tools to, at least to some level, educate yourself that, these tools are here. So even if you don't have it in your head, you can quickly access that infographic and say, well, look, these are the health benefits for joint health and how it can help to promote your sports performance or help to decrease your menstrual pain. These types of, all of that is available in one simple infographic there. And if they're interested from that, then you can refer them to the application brochures, and they'll have enough information to put them to sleep anytime that they need. So, speaking from personal experience, of course. But let's move on, because I do have some new research and some important things that I want to touch on. And it's going to focus more on Pycnogenol's action as a natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Of course, you want to be the one non-rusty nail here, the nice sparkling stainless steel nail here, or everyone around you who does not take Pycnogenol or health food supplements. With the aging process, they slowly begin to rust. As we've seen, I think I definitely have. Now I've turned 50 and just went home last year to visit my friends and family in the United States after 4 or 5 years because of the pandemic. And I was really surprised to catch up with some old friends who have really aged in the last few years. And, you know, I'm not that different, except that I do take Pycnogenol and I take other health food supplements and I exercise and I try to watch my diet. And so I hope this is me. In comparison to them, I really felt like this. But that's a benefit that Pycnogenol can have for you. And then the anti-inflammatory actions of Pycnogenol, helping to control inflammation and the low-level chronic inflammation as we age. Now, for the antioxidant benefits, because it's so highly touted, I want to touch on this a little bit. Of course, there are many sources of free radicals in our world, in our diets. With our habits, if you smoke or drink a lot, then this can be a source of metabolizing all the alcohol, does create more free radicals. Your diet, of course, and then the environment. And if you have high levels of free radicals in your body, and these do build up as we age because our natural antioxidant defenses begin to decline after about 25 years of age. So we end up having more free radical stress in the body, and this can promote aging in general, but the risk of many different health conditions. So Pycnogenol as an antioxidant, now this is an in vitro study done in a cell culture, but it did show very profoundly that Pycnogenol, compared to other antioxidant compounds, is a very, very powerful antioxidant. And it protected these particular cells. These were retinal cells from the eye, and it protected 94% of them from damage from free radical stress compared to these other commonly known antioxidant compounds. And this can definitely decrease stress in the body, decrease stress in general, which I'll get to in a second here. But more than pycnogenol's antioxidant action by itself, pycnogenol actually stimulates our body's own natural antioxidant defenses. This is a very fascinating aspect of pycnogenol because in our cells, we have natural antioxidant defenses, which are enzymes, superoxide dismutase or catalase. And then there's the powerful super ultimate antioxidant, which is glutathione, which our bodies naturally produce. And by simply adding pycnogenol, the activity and amount of these enzymes doubled or nearly doubled, and glutathione amount nearly doubled as well, just by adding pycnogenol. So in addition to pycnogenol's antioxidant benefit, it is boosting our body's own natural antioxidant defenses. And this has been seen not just in one cell culture study, but in multiple studies and been published in multiple different publications that you can find all of these available online. So in addition to pycnogenol's own very powerful antioxidant benefit, it boosts our own natural antioxidant defenses. And there's plenty of clinical studies to support this. This is a very good study conducted in healthy individuals, but these individuals were smokers. And so as a result, they started off the study with both groups having very high levels of free radical stress. Now, the groups were divided and half took placebo or a sugar pill and half took only 50 milligrams of pycnogenol a day. And you could see over the course of 8 to 10 weeks, it decreased their free radical stress by nearly 40%. And they were still smoking the whole time. They were still smoking the whole time, and pycnogenol decreased their free radical stress by nearly 40%. And it's important to point out that by this test method here, where they're looking at plasma radicals, so this is free radicals in the bloodstream, by this test method, a healthy individual will have on average around 300 car units, they're called, level of free radical stress, around 300. That's considered healthy. So pycnogenol, by taking pycnogenol, it helped to bring their free radical stress level back down to a healthy level. And they're still smoking. So obviously it's best not to smoke. Don't get me wrong, it's best not to smoke. But if you must smoke, definitely take pycnogenol. So here's what happens. You say you smoke, or you drink a lot, or eat a poor diet, or are exposed to a lot of environmental exposure that increases free radical stress in your body. This builds up, and when free radical stress becomes excessive, it causes an inflammatory response inside of our cells. And part of the inflammatory response in boosting immune function and triggering inflammation in the body is it produces more free radical stress. And guess what that does? It triggers more inflammation. I think you can see where I'm going with this, but this is what is happening, particularly as we age. So even if you are healthy, have no disease condition, as you age, this is the process that is beginning to take effect. And this promotes accelerated aging, fatigue, brain fog, and even depression. There's more and more research coming out about this in the mental health related to low levels of inflammation and free radical stress. It's actually something that I'm quite interested in because it's a very growing field right now. And so I found this very nice review article, has the great, highly relatable title of Immunometabolic Constraints on Dopaminergic Drive. Aren't you just excited now to hear it? I know you are. So let's look at the image on the right-hand side there. This is from the paper, and basically it shows different sources from our world, could be microbes and microbial organisms that cause inflammation or free radical stress in the body, or it could be metabolic dysfunction triggers, as they're called. So if you have dealing with obesity, or if you have chronic stress, or if you're dealing with dysbiosis and medical illness or metabolic syndrome, so uncontrolled blood sugar and these types of things, this all leads to triggering activity inside of the cells which produces a free radical stress. And this free radical stress then triggers increased energy consumption. First off, in the cell, just by having these impacting factors in your life, it increases the energy that a cell needs to survive every day. You figure that out? We have about 4 trillion cells in our body. And if each one of these cells starts using just even 1% more energy than it did before, imagine how that's going to impact your overall energy level every day. And that's what happens when free radical stress continues to elevate. And as free radical stress goes up, immune cells are upregulated, and this triggers more inflammatory mediators. So this starts the inflammatory process. And then this stuff, these inflammatory mediators, they leak up into the brain. They cross the infamous blood-brain barrier and they go into the brain itself, okay? And what happens here? You have inflammatory mediators in here, so this is causing inflammation, which does what? It promotes more free radical stress directly in the brain. And so there you have excessive free radical stress and inflammation in the brain. And this, in the end, it decreases dopamine production, decreases release of dopamine. It actually increases uptake of dopamine, so you have less dopamine hormone in your brain. And what does that do? It decreases your motivation. It decreases your level of happiness. And what does that describe? Depression. So there's more and more research about this, how these simple impacting factors that are so common in our lives, if left unchecked, this unmitigated free radical stress and inflammation is leading to increased predisposition to become depressed. And it explains a lot with the skyrocketing rates of depression around the world and mood disorder around the world. That can't be explained by other reasoning. So this is an important matter to take into consideration when choosing to add an antioxidant compound or a health and nutrition product into your diet to stop this process in itself. And pycnogenol is an excellent answer for that because there's plenty of clinical research that supports that it does this exact action. Let me show you a little bit how pycnogenol has been shown to improve mood quality in different studies. So these are snippets from different studies. This was a study in healthy college-age students who, taking pycnogenol, it improved their memory and cognitive function, but in looking at their mood, it improved their level of alertness. It helped them to feel more content and decreased anxiety. So this is improving their mood level, probably by the mechanism described in the last slide, helping to improve dopamine levels in the brain indirectly by decreasing free radical stress. In healthy professionals, so these are individuals between 35 and 55 years of age, similar study, it improved cognitive function and memory function in these individuals as well. And it also helped to improve alertness, helped to decrease levels of anxiety, and improve their feeling of contentedness. So yes, it helped to welcome them to a more happier life, simply by adding pycnogenol to their normal lifestyle. And then another study that was conducted in seniors. So these are people 65 years and older who were taking pycnogenol for a year. And over the course of the year, you could see how their psychosocial interactions, their cognitive function abilities improved significantly, whether it was dealing with people, their ability to deal with people improved very significantly compared to the control group. Their ability to cope with problems and to move around and just have more physical function and activity, they felt better. And so they felt more free to do this. Their ability to exercise, look at the way that skyrocketed compared to the control group. So very nice, profound effect on pycnogenol boosting energy in these elderly individuals. And then very important, particularly in the elderly here, is sleep. Because as we age, people elderly people tend to require less sleep, but they also feel more fatigued and tend to be more tired during the day. So improving sleep quality is something that pycnogenol also helps to do. But by decreasing free radical stress, decreasing inflammation, it is clearly having an impact on brain health and cognitive function as well. Well, let's switch into a different area where fighting free radical stress and fighting inflammation can have a very profound effect in many, many women's lives, and that's in decreasing menstrual pain. There are multiple clinical studies covering this, and taking pycnogenol even for only a couple weeks, generally 1 month, you can see significant clinical benefits with decreased menstrual pain, decreased need for medication to control menstrual pain, and a fewer days where women experience pain. Just to give you an example, this was a study published in 2004 where women took only 30 milligrams of pycnogenol a day. This was in Japanese women, so their body weight may be less than the average body weight in Australia, but 30 milligrams was enough to have a significant decrease in menstrual pain in 73% of the women in the study. That's 8 out of 11. And then even more severe pain, there's a condition known as endometriosis, which causes much more severe menstrual pain, unbearable pain. And it's due to endometrial tissue growing outside of the uterus. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I jumped ahead of myself. This is another study in general menstrual pain, where women who had dysmenorrhea, where this is clinically diagnosable levels of menstrual pain, and then they were given pycnogenol over the course of 2 menstrual cycles, and you can see how their pain significantly decreased. And this was indirectly measured by a decrease in the need for pain medication. And interestingly enough, even after they stopped taking pycnogenol, the following menstrual cycle, their need for pain medication continued to decline, because pycnogenol helps to improve, decrease inflammation in the body as a whole and decrease free radical stress, therefore helping to control inflammation in the body and decrease menstrual pain. Next is endometriosis. So this is what endometriosis is, where you have endometrial tissue outside of the uterus, and this causes severe pain with each menstrual cycle. This is debilitating pain. And there was a study comparing the use of pycnogenol to a hormone blocking treatment, which is an injectable, which is called Leuprelin. And this essentially blocks the menstrual cycle. It stops estrogen production. So by stopping the menstrual cycle, it relieves pain fantastically. However, you suddenly throwing these young, youthful women into menopause. And so as you can imagine, there are many, many side effects. And also these women cannot have children because their menstrual cycle is stopped. So comparing the benefits of pycnogenol to this treatment, you could see that taking only 60 milligrams of pycnogenol a day steadily and continuously decreased pain scores over the course of nearly 1 year. And the trend was continuing even at the end of 48 weeks. So continuing to take pycnogenol likely would continue to help to decrease pain in these endometriosis patients. And I've met many endometriosis patients who have told me that it took them a couple of years of taking pycnogenol, but they were able to finally completely come off the medication that they had been reliant upon to live normal lives, simply by switching to pycnogenol over time. And it's perfectly safe to combine pycnogenol with these other hormone blocking treatments as well. So it's a way for women to phase into a more natural way to control their menstrual pain. Anyway, the other benefit of this is that pycnogenol does not affect estrogen levels. It does not stop the menstrual cycle. If anything, it helps to improve it. And so there were actually 5 women in the pycnogenol group that within 24 weeks of the study, they became pregnant. And so they had to drop out of the study, of course, due to this. But this was a very, very welcome side effect in this treatment group because greater than 50% of women with endometriosis have trouble becoming pregnant. And then osteoarthritis, of course, inflammation. This is a chronic inflammatory condition. And there are now 5 controlled clinical studies that very nicely prove the many health benefits of pycnogenol in joint health. So this is your joint, whether this is a knee joint or an elbow joint or a shoulder joint, whatever. You have the bones and then a joint capsule on either sides with the synovial fluid in between. This is and the cushioning substance of the cartilage there. It's important to point out that there's no blood vessels going into the joint, and there's no lymphatic vessels and nerves going into there. So it's hard to directly treat and improve joint health and get active compounds into the joint. What happens with chronic inflammatory conditions like arthritis is that you have this chronic level of inflammation going on, causing building up enzymes that degrade cartilage, that cause pain, and increase in free radicals, which also damages the tissue. And this is just going on and on and on. Well, this is an example, a summary of just 3 of the clinical studies with pycnogenol that showed that it had significant benefits in decreasing free radical stress and overall inflammation in the body. And on average, these patients with moderate levels of osteoarthritis, they had nearly a 50% decrease in pain, nearly 43% decrease in joint stiffness, and a greater than 50% improvement in joint function. And you can find all of these in the application brochure. So very, very good for joint health. Another important point to point out is that there is even research, and this was really groundbreaking research that was recently published, that showed that pycnogenol compounds and the metabolites of pycnogenol accumulate inside of the joint itself. Now, this research study was groundbreaking in that this level of research for a natural health compound in particular, even for pharmaceutical compounds, this level of research is rare. So you can be really feel assured that there is good evidence showing that pycnogenol works in the joints. The metabolites and compounds reach inside of the joint, and they significantly stop or help to decrease inflammation and promote rebuilding of the joint. So they decrease inflammatory markers within inside of the joint itself. So moving into the new research, there was just recently a study published that showed that pycnogenol helped to decrease recurrent back pain. So this was the first of its kind study. And so the dose used was a high dose, and it was a short-term study for only 3 weeks. So that's another reason why the dose was quite high. But also, there was only 23 subjects taking pycnogenol versus nearly 60 in the control standard management group. So there's a big comparison gap here. Now, they did allow subjects to take pain medication if they needed to. And what was interesting was that people taking pycnogenol, only 9% of them needed to take pain medication to control their pain during the 3 weeks of the trial. Whereas 73% of the controls needed pain medication. So this is a huge factor in the overall results of this study. So remember this slide, 73% of controls were taking pycnogenol, were taking pain medication, whereas only 9% taking pycnogenol needed pain medication. And then they looked at physical performance scores. That's what this great scale, it's called the Karnofsky Performance Status Scale. Fantastic, huh? It basically measures physical performance. And what is interesting is that you see that those in the pycnogenol group, their physical performance recovered much faster and more significantly than those in the pain medication group. And even though they were taking all this pain medication, those in the pycnogenol group recovered faster and more significantly. And then look at back pain score. Now remember, only 9% of the subjects taking pycnogenol used pain medication, but they still had faster decreases in back pain than the subjects who were continuously taking pain medication. That's fantastic. And if you can do that, because chronic pain medication intake causes significant damage to the kidneys as well as the liver. And it's a first-line treatment in osteoarthritis, but it is not something that is healthy to maintain chronically. And here you see more evidence that pycnogenol can be a good option for many people to help decrease pain and improve function in a healthy way. And those subjects who took pycnogenol were able to restart physical training, exercise, physical activity in only 3 weeks, compared to, on average, 4.5 weeks for those who were in the standard management group. So decreasing pain, restoring physical function much better and more quickly than those taking pain medication alone. So new research. And just to further extend that, there was a recent review article that looked at the many different compounds that are advertised to be good for treating osteoarthritis. And there are many of them. And this is targeted towards health professionals. And it's in the very prestigious journal called Rheumatology, published in 2018. And you can see pycnogenol was looked at among many different natural compounds that have been touted to have benefits to decrease joint pain or improve joint function. And you see pycnogenol right in there. So they looked at, they did this thing with what they call a bubble chart. And so the bigger the bubble, the more pronounced the benefit was in this sense. So you could see that pycnogenol had the best level of research, so the highest recommendation level by these experts, and the highest benefit of decreasing pain and improving function. So you could see, compared to many of these highly touted or popularly advertised compounds, pycnogenol, rated by experts, was found to be far more significant and the best option to use in treating chronic joint pain. Then moving on, I'm sorry, I'm probably going over time. I'm just enjoying myself too much. It's been too long since I've done this. I apologize for that. But a few more things I want to touch on. Another new study in fibromyalgia. I know this is a big thing for many people in Australia, as it is in the United States. My own mother suffers from this. So this study was very encouraging for me. I had seen it in my own experience with my mom, but it looked at subjects who have fibromyalgia syndrome, which is a chronic inflammatory, painful syndrome, but has many other symptoms related to fatigue and mood disorder as well. And it's unclear as to what is the cause. It's believed to be autoimmune in general. And it's difficult to treat because many of these subjects develop sensitivities, and so it's very difficult to treat. So this study had 50 subjects, with half of them taking pycnogenol and half of them in the control group, which is standard treatment alone. So first off, talking about the anti-inflammatory action, those subjects who were taking pycnogenol were able to very significantly decrease their need for pain medication and decrease their reliance on steroids to control inflammation. And this is a very profound reduction in only 1 month's time. So decreasing pain and need for medication to control inflammation and pain. And as a result of this, as you would expect, they had a very nice, significant decrease in pain, 60% reduction in widespread pain. That's phenomenal. And pain with fatigue also decreased by nearly 60%. Other body symptoms also decreased significantly. Fatigue levels, so energy levels, increased dramatically. And then their levels of stress, their body is feeling better, they're going to feel more energized. Cognitive disturbance, again, helping to improve the dopamine levels within the brain in an indirect way by decreasing inflammation and decreasing free radical stress. So improve cognitive function, decrease mental cloudiness. Even symptoms related to irritable bowel syndrome and interstitial cystitis. Migraine and headache, again, decreasing pain here. And paresthesia is numbness and tingling of the extremities. This also improved significantly. And the number of subjects with what would be diagnosed as high levels of oxidative stress, by the end of the study, there were only 8% in the pycnogenol group compared to 75% in the standard treatment group. So very powerful antioxidant effect. So for fibromyalgia, very, very good study here and helping to support testimonial reports from many, many different subjects, patients that I've talked to, reducing the need for pain medication, relieving a wide range of symptoms, and decreasing oxidative stress. And then getting to the end here, but this is a very exciting study. This was a study looking at the ability of pycnogenol to boost recovery post a major viral infection. And obviously, this has been a topic on everyone's mind in the last few years, but it has become more and more clear with the COVID pandemic that these viral infections, even influenza as well, can have profound, long-lasting effects in many people. And so this study was conducted in subjects who they had been effectively cleared of the virus, the active virus, but they were still in the recovery phase after the infection. And so it was 30 subjects taking pycnogenol versus 30 controls who were on standard management. So there can be many different long-term effects from a chronic infection, depending on the part of the body and the body system that was most affected by the infection. But what we're going to focus on in this study here is where pycnogenol is a star in particular, and that's in the heart and blood vessel function. And why is pycnogenol so good at promoting heart and circulatory function? Well, one of the reasons we know for sure and is supported by research is that the metabolite of pycnogenol accumulates in these cells that line our blood vessel walls. It accumulates in the cells in the blood vessel walls, and so it very directly helps to improve function of the blood vessel walls, the blood vessels themselves. So as a result, you can see a much better pronounced, more dramatic improvement in blood flow when taking pycnogenol, even in these subjects who have had a recent, very debilitating infection. So you can see that those taking pycnogenol within 4 weeks, they already had significant improvement in arterial blood flow. And by the end of 12 weeks, it had improved nearly 200% compared to the baseline, whereas the standard management only improved by 22%. So improving blood vessel function post significant viral infection. And then even in the micro blood vessels, the capillaries, you could see a similar improvement with pycnogenol over 12 weeks, improving micro vessel blood flow by 116%. And then, of course, improving overall body blood flow, particularly in the capillaries. You would expect this would improve organ function. And they saw that exactly in the case of the kidneys here. Now, kidneys, they rely on capillaries a lot and very tiny blood vessels. So it's important to improve the microcirculation. So you could see that what they call systolic cortical flow velocity, this is blood flow into the kidney, essentially, improved significantly. This is 15%, but this is a clinically significant improvement in blood flow into the kidney compared to only 2% in the control group. And then they looked at the diastolic component. So this is essentially what this is. This is the time where the tissue is being perfused, where the organ itself, the kidney itself, is being supplied with nutrients from the blood supply. And you could see that this improved by 130% in the pycnogenol group versus only 44% in the standard treatment group. So very profound impact on helping to restore healthy function post a very intensive viral infection. And that's important for maintaining good organ function and overall health. And then, of course, they looked at inflammation. So in the case of a viral infection, you have this very acute and pronounced acute inflammation. Now, if this is allowed to go on and remain chronic, as it can happen in conditions in a post-viral infection syndrome, then this can increase your disease risk for many different conditions, similar to high levels of free radical stress and inflammation with aging. So they looked at the ability of pycnogenol to help restore inflammatory markers to a normal level with pycnogenol in these subjects. So at the start of the study, they had high levels of interleukin-6, an inflammatory marker, and C-reactive protein, which measures full body inflammation. And you could see that only in the pycnogenol group was it restored to normal. And this was already restored to normal in 4 weeks in both cases. Whereas by the end of the study, in the standard management groups, they still had elevated levels of inflammation in their body after 12 weeks. In the pycnogenol group, it was back down to a healthy level in 4 weeks. That's fantastic. And of course, that's going to have a big impact on the quality of life, mood, and energy levels. And that was exactly what was seen in survey results that showed that there was a 50% improvement in their overall quality of life, mood, and fatigue scores. Very significant compared to standard management. So this was a really timely study, needed, and shows good support for the actual benefits that we see with pycnogenol, improving endothelial function, so the blood vessel function, improving circulation to the organs, in this case the kidney, decreasing overall inflammation in the body. And then all of these actions, improving blood flow, decreasing inflammation and free radical stress, helping to promote more energy, improve quality of life, mood, and general well-being. Very timely study. And then last, to finish up on a more cheery note, something that's applicable to everyone, and that is basically aging of the skin. Now, pycnogenol as a natural plant extract is one of the most well-studied, particularly in the last 20 years, related to its health benefits in skin and helping to improve the appearance of skin. And this is the most recent study that looked at the ability of pycnogenol to protect against chronic sun exposure, but also air pollution, because this study was conducted in outdoor workers living in Beijing, China. So these are subjects who are constantly outside. They're constantly exposed to UV radiation, and they're constantly exposed to environmental pollution and changes in the season, which can all affect negatively or positively skin quality. So it was a 12-week study, and it was really a gold standard study because it was double-blind, placebo-controlled, and crossover. So they switched from half taking pycnogenol in the beginning and placebo, and then halfway through the study, they switched groups. So they get data from both groups, and they get more data overall. So the results are more important. All measurements and equipment used are standard research level equipment used for studying skin health. And so looking at the results, first they looked at skin moisture content. And what they saw was that, of course, during the wet season, they saw both groups have an increase in moisture content during the wet season. But in the dry season, July to October, you could see that those in the pycnogenol group, they actually had a slight improvement in moisture content during the first 6 weeks that they were taking pycnogenol. And then during the more intense dry part of the summer and the fall, they helped to decrease the loss of water. And essentially help to maintain moisture content even in the intense dry season. And pycnogenol was shown in this study to improve barrier function of the skin, and this is very important for maintaining the health of the skin, but also for preventing water loss, because if the skin barrier is damaged to intense UV exposure, you have excessive water loss, and this can negatively affect the quality of the skin. So again, the same result was seen in the dry season, whereas the control group or the placebo group, they had a significant loss of water in the skin, whereas in the pycnogenol group, this water loss was significantly stopped. So preventing water loss and tissue and skin barrier, improving skin barrier function. And then improving skin elasticity. So pycnogenol helps to improve collagen production. It helps to bind to and protect elastin in the skin. And so you can see significant improvement in elasticity, regardless of season, whether it's the wet season or the dry season. You saw a significant improvement in both groups when taking pycnogenol in the firmness of their skin. And this also contributes to decreasing the appearance of fine wrinkles. And then lastly, they looked at the skin tone, or the skin, what's the word I'm looking for? The skin, not texture, but the color of the skin, essentially. So it's typical, of course, with sun exposure to increase melanin production. And this promotes tanning and is a protective action of the skin. But pycnogenol actually helps to decrease the development or the production of melanin within the skin. And this promotes a more lighter looking skin tone. And this measurement instrument is actually basically state of the art in measuring skin tone color. And you could see that the higher the number, the more lighter the skin is becoming. And so you can see when taking pycnogenol in the dry, hot season where the UV rays are the most intense, these subjects actually, their skin became lighter while taking pycnogenol, instead of getting darker as it was seen in the placebo group. So very profound effect, showing that pycnogenol can even decrease to a certain degree the melanin production that can be up-regulated during the hot summer and intense UV exposure. So this helps to support previous studies that show a profound whitening benefit of pycnogenol. And this study is just the latest in a long line of previous studies and clinical studies and also preclinical studies that show pycnogenol improving moisture content, improving skin barrier function, preventing moisture loss and helping to actually increase moisture content in the skin, improving skin elasticity, lightening the skin color, and preventing the appearance of skin spots. And also in this study, helping to protect the skin against high pollution damage, which can be a problem, particularly in very large cities. So another action of pycnogenol helping to protect the skin. All right, I've talked way too much tonight. So this is again the summary slide showing the many and clinically proven health benefits of pycnogenol. The basic actions as an antioxidant, improving blood vessel health and blood vessel function, anti-inflammatory, promoting the health of the skin and the appearance of the skin, and then healthy blood sugar control, which I did not touch on much in this, but of course it's on the website. So getting back to what we were talking about, it's great to have a story, and I encourage you to share your stories with those that you're interested in sharing pycnogenol with. But remember, everyone is different and everyone is dealing with different things. So try to address their needs and concerns and focus your conversation about OPC3 or pycnogenol directly on their needs and limit it to those needs. I know there's always I'm guilty of this myself because I know all the research and I know what all it can do. And so I'm eager to share that with a lot of people, but I also know that that's overwhelming to many people. So it's important to keep focused and focus your conversation and limit it to their concerns and start there. And once they start with that, then they will begin to notice all the other health benefits and they will become fans. And that's what I've seen so many times. So just keep your conversation focused on the needs of the person in front of you.
Awesome. Hey, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Jeff.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you were finished or not. I kind of cut you off.
Oh, it's all right. This is the end. So just remember the tools with the website, and of course the Market AU homepage also is a good resource. All the tools you got here, pycnogenol.com. And then lastly, again, Market America globally is the worldwide exclusive provider of pycnogenol in isotonic form. No other company has it in the isotonic delivery system. So that's an important thing to distinguish your product from others, and pycnogenol in your product from others. And that's it. Now I'm done.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you, Dr. Jeff. We can't thank you enough for your time and your expertise in sharing this information. I tell you, the pycnogenol.com website. That is just phenomenal information that everybody can use. So thank you so much for putting that together. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time this evening to learn more about our incredible product OPC3 and particularly pycnogenol. So you guys have a great evening. We're going to end the webinar now, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey, thanks, Dr. Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great seeing you again, Andy. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.